This is the
Roll
Stxhes
that
Podcast,
beautiful
everybody. Thank you so much for coming in. We've got Brandon, Philip, Gene, Dwayno, and myself, Donnie. Thanks for tuning in.
You're like, I can't take this shit no more. I'm out. Like, okay. He was out for the weekend, right?
Points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and 2 turnovers. We win the game. That's how it is.
I see folks like, oh man, that's old folks stuff. I'm like, damn, am I getting old? Like he watched.
I'm damn near a gangster in real life, you know what I'm saying? But no,
Cannot complain.
Work been going all right though?
Huh?
Has work been going all right?
Super productive. We're really busy. We have a lot of work going on right now. We don't have enough people. So it's kind of a good thing, but at the end of the day, it's going to be stressful. So, how about you guys?
Yeah, about the same. One of the trucks broke down, so now it's like, do you get another used truck, even though trucks are on like a year back order? I mean, at the end of the year, our operations manager is retiring, so it's like everything is like, man, it's already February, just about. Huh? You leaving when? So, I mean, it's going well. You know, in a good rhythm. Got another raise. That's always welcome.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So are you full on back on the road? Like are you out doing quotes and stuff all over again, or how are you doing it now?
Yeah, I'm on the road. I just go down 30 minutes, depending on the size of the house and how much the client wants to ask questions or tell stories and stuff. Like the one woman I ran into uses her Cricut and her heat press, and then we started going on talking about vinyl, and she showed me all around the place and stuff. And she does like doll houses, like very like, I don't want to say like photorealistic doll houses or anything, but it was like she got so creative with shrinking down sizes, and she like put leaves on the ground and stuff. I was like, this ain't like, and she'd have like rooms dedicated to certain like this scene, and then the next room, and it was like all. I was like, this is wild. And I was like, so you're gonna tell me you hand painted all this, right? She's like, no, I really did. I was like, oh, okay.
So does she do competitions or something, or she just loves to do it and collect it, and
she just does it, and she would do it for like realtors and stuff like that. Like, it's cool, but I just kind of got into a rhythm. I go out and help them in the field a little bit, or go tag whatever needs to go, and I try not to do like the lifting part. And he's gotten to the same point too. He's just like, I can't afford to get hurt at this point. It's like every time you go out and you haven't been out in like a month or something, everyone just assumes, oh well, Phil's gonna do it. Phil's gonna do it. Like, oh well, Phil's here. It's like you end up doing like the toughest pieces because you're actually able to do it. But I'm like, what would y'all have done about this big couch coming in if I wasn't here? Like, I'm just
So what do you say? Do you say, "Oh, I'm just here to observe for a little bit, and then I'm rolling out," or how do you handle it? Or you hang out for a good part of the day?
I typically end up staying longer than I would like to, just because I'm like, I can't just walk out of here. The client knows me. Like, I'm the person that they've first seen. They've talked to the office, but they know me, gained a trust level with me. So it's like, if I just walk out and this ends up being an 8 o'clock day, this isn't going to be a good look. And plus, like, moving forward, like as far as like the leadership aspect, none of these kids have seen me in the field. Like the guys before, you would have the respect because I'm not going to ask you to do anything you haven't seen me do. I'll go into the attics. I'll be in the basements. Whatever the toughest piece is, I'm going to carry it out. Or, if I do one and I see you do two of them in a row, I'm gonna tell you, chill in the truck, we're gonna bring the next one, take a break, and keep that mentality moving forward. But these guys don't know me like that. Like we've had such turnover. Now I'm like, what's the training versus like what for us moving forward is like what's gonna be the window of how long it takes to like figure it out? Because like for us, we learned with the person that started the business. So as he figured it out, we were figuring it out. And as we were seeing things, we were changing it up and stuff. So there was no one that could tell us anything about how it works because we were creating it as we go along. The new people coming in, they didn't have to go through trial by fire. Like we figured out, let's not do it all in one day.
Right.
Let's space it out. Let's do this day and so, and try and make it as like hand fed as possible. So the guys now, they have no idea what it was like a few years ago when we had the guys that were already there, and now they're just like, it's getting easier and easier, and these guys just don't understand. And now it's like as easy as you make it, then you have to make it even easier because that becomes the expectation. So they don't work with the same pace that I'm used to. Like there were some jobs we were running in and out of the house. Like we wouldn't be running in the house, but if you got an empty load going back and forth, like we knew this job don't end until we finish. Like we don't go home until we finish this job. And we didn't plan it for a 5-day job. We planned it probably for like 2. And we'd have a truck full of stuff we had to drop off at the dump right before going to the house in the morning, get there early and stuff. So it's so much more streamlined, but the guys don't understand what it, like what actually goes into it. They don't understand from top to bottom that ripple effect that happens when you don't do your job.
So are you saying do you think that they're like taking advantage of their time on the project because now they know it's already planned out for them, they have 3 days to do this job? Or do you think it's like it's too planned out for them, now they don't have to think? It's almost
it's both of those. It's both of those things. It's like if you lay it out and it's 3 days, it's most likely 3 days because it's like 2.25 days. So I'm like, well, why try and force a long day this day or anything? Let's just stretch it out and it's just simple days. The last day will just be shortened. Well, if you're ahead of schedule and you can finish it in 2 days, that doesn't mean leave at noon that day knowing we still got one more day on the schedule. It's like the opportunity cost there. I'm leaving an estimate right now that they're just looking for 2 guys to come and pick up these 4 things out of the house. I don't have the availability to do it. They got to do it before the weekend. It's Thursday. They're just not thinking about the fact I could have put another job on the board. And if you finish it today, that's great. We can be more efficient, and it also won't cost the client nearly as much if you take your time and stretch it out. Then there's probably an hour of drive time that got killed, or 2 hours, depending on where it was. So it's like, think of the big picture instead of thinking like, how can I make this day as easy as I can, and the rest crumbles. And it's like the client's going to call the office. They don't call the individual crew members. If something happens and something gets broken, they call the office. I look bad, or the office looks bad. And it's like you have to be able to have guys that are going to take accountability for that job and be like, all right, it's like a folder of info at this point. And it's like, I don't know how much more you can get before it's just like, no, you just have to take it on. You can't be in this as it's just a job. I think that's the mentality now. It's like I signed up for a job, I'm going to put in my 8 hours, and then I'm going to go home and do whatever I want to do. And like, it's great. But this isn't Walmart or like Google or Nike. It's still a small business growing. So it's only as good as what you're going to contribute to it. If you're just getting people that just want to like show up or anything like that, then it makes it really difficult because you're not going to last very long. Like, you can tell when guys' attitudes start getting short and stuff like that, and they're like, you're not going to last in that position because your patience can't be the first thing that goes. It's like in what we do, because tomorrow's job is going to be just as difficult as today's. You have no idea what's going to happen on Friday, and that's what we're in business for. We're supposed to be able to be flexible. We're supposed to be able to think on our feet and change game plans according to what the client needs. It's like a customized service. So if you want it all laid out and you show up to the job and half the stuff got taken out by the kids or somebody dropped off some more stuff, like that's a change. Obviously, I couldn't predict the future. So now you're in this situation and we just got to be as efficient as we can. It's a mindset, though. It takes a while to understand all the moving pieces. You know, it's like, and I've been in every role, so it's a little easier for me to see it. And I can't picture it from their lens at this point.
Well, I think that's the disconnect, honestly, because you guys got used to. I mean, no, not to be mean or anything. You guys got used to some people that were rather cerebral, including yourselves. You know what I mean, and could absorb this information and make a decision. And now you're getting folks that, like you said, they just want a job. So
I'm not mad at that.
That could be any industry. You're gonna like that, that's that division right there between like moving up and out of the field and doing grunt work and making decisions versus doing grunt work. And it's like people don't want to think about it that way, but it's the truth. Like, do you want to move up and be more responsible? Do you want that responsibility? Not everybody wants that.
No, but you want the increase in pay though. And it's like
everything else, yep.
It's like you have to start looking at it as a business owner would look at it. It's like, okay, so I should just cut my profit margin that much more to give you more, and what do I get in return?
Exactly.
Like, if you're only going to do what the entry level position entails, then it's like it's not a mutually beneficial situation there. And I'm like, I feel like you get like 2 years in the field without seeing progress and moving up the chain or anything before it's like that's the burnout window. It's like it's either within the first 3 to 6 months or you go to 2 years. And at that point, it's like there's positions that haven't even been created yet. If you just want to go into that role, I promise you they'd be all about it. But they also see, like, if I show up to a job, I'll be the one that's going to be talking with the client throughout the entire day and handling the contracts and stuff. I'm like, I'm showing up to this and I'm asking your opinion on everything because I want you to think this thing out. I don't want to just come in and tell you exactly how it's supposed to work. I'm like, treat me like I'm on your crew. What do you want to get next? What should we load up on the truck first? You know, but it always reverts back to that. And yeah, it's tough. And the guys are young too. Like the crew is young, like that disconnect too. I started 26, 27 years old when I started. The whole crew, like the youngest dude on our crew was like 25. And then Ryan was like 27 or something like that. So it's like, at that point, we were all in like the hustle mind state. It wasn't like we're fresh out of college or something like that. It was like we'd already been working real jobs and stuff like that. So it's like, no, there's an opportunity, and it's only going to work if we work. Like there ain't nobody. If you call out, we're about to deal with 2 people. Like that's our only option. So it's tough to like try and pass that mindset down to people. That's like they're getting paid a lot more than I made when I had to work my way up to get paid what you're getting paid to start.
I remember that at Office Depot too.
It's so crazy.
Like you've been there for years, and then as time goes on, they make those natural cost of living increases and stuff.
Yeah.
And you're just watching people come in making more money than you. You have all this experience racked up, and it doesn't matter because you're only gonna get your little 5% or less every year. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, do you guys think that you have too high of expectations, knowing how young these guys are, and if they're not showing that desire to learn more or to truly grind, do you think that you're asking too much of them out of the gate?
I mean, yes. When it comes down to it, like I say it in the office too. I'm like, if this is going to scale, these guys are good. Like I like the guys that we have. That's the frustrating part is like you want them all to just buy into the system and be like, let's do that. Like you get a crew, you get a crew, you get a crew. I promise you, if you want to run jobs, Ryan, he's gonna go get trucks. That's the mentality that he's looking for also, because we can only do it with that mindset. It's gonna be tough no matter what.
Yeah.
But expecting guys to like come in and understand exactly what that grind looks like, and instead of just coming in and getting an established position, like it's going to be a very difficult thing to do. So I'm like, if we're going to scale this, you have to be able to train that type of blueprint of an employee. Like, how do you get that employee to want to go? So is it an incentive program? Is it some sort of added benefit to get to that next point? Like, what is it to get those type of guys? Because otherwise they want to have full-time hours. But then when they get to the full-time hours, the jobs get tougher and tougher because throughout the week it keeps stockpiling and stockpiling. And by Friday, everybody's in a bad mood, or guys will call out on Monday or something like that. And like, you get high on one dude, and then all of a sudden, 2 days he's calling out last second, and not understanding the ripple effect. Everyone's on the board right now on a job. So you calling out last second and just not thinking it's a big deal or anything like that means you just screwed those two guys over, because there's no support unless another job finishes that day. And we used to think of it that way. Like, these are my boys that I'm going out with. I'm going to do as much as I can to make sure, because we're all looking at the same issue. Let's see how quickly we can get it done. If you rolled your ankle or something like that, I'm gonna pick up the slack. Like, it's just not that. It's just, let me get my hours. Let me see. I'm not on this job on Friday, so we're done our part. That stuff can get done on Friday because they're gonna have more guys. Like, you can't think that way, because then you get snow. Like, in this time of the year, we get snow and everything gets turned off.
What if you guys did like some sort of rotation? Like you said, because the burnout rate is so high, because it's a grueling job. I mean,
It is.
You're picking up heavy ass stuff and you're putting it back down, and you're running up and down stairs and everything else. What do you think there's a way of like putting like a rotation in play where like they're out in the field and they're huffing up furniture and stuff up and down stairs maybe 2 or 3 days, and then maybe a day or two they're in the warehouse helping prepare stuff or something? Or is there anything else that they could do besides being in the field all the time?
Well, it's when they're out of the field. It's the thing is, it's like when they finish a job at like 11 o'clock. There's like she wrote up this long, big whiteboard in the back. It's huge. All the different things that can be done without even needing to come in and ask if you want hours, and it's 11 o'clock and you normally are working until 4:30. There's a lot of things that you can get accomplished. You sweep the trucks, do whatever, help take pictures on the auction, do all these different things, check the supplies, make sure everything is like, but everyone runs out the door. Like half of them won't even come in and like, hey Didi, all right, we're heading out. It's like, how quickly can we get back to the warehouse and get out of here? And then when it's a week that's slow, like, there's so many things that you can do.
So what if you guys just didn't make it an option? What if you started making up schedules where it was like Monday through Wednesday, we're on a job and we're knocking it out. And then Thursday, Friday, you're doing supplies, you're cleaning, you're doing, like, you know what I mean? Like, what if they just broke it out that way?
Because it wouldn't even be a full 8. If we did 2 days, it honestly, like, the tasks get done in a day when you just have one person. It's like, we're not gonna put you on jobs or anything, just get the storage room and all the supplies and everything organized. By the end of the day, the majority of it's organized. So if you have more than one person doing that, that's a half-day project. And then what do they do for the rest of the day? Well, we could have been making $2,500 that day. So now you're paying 2 guys full-time pay to go into the warehouse and clean stuff up.
Well,
and what's going to be the sense of urgency?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you gave one of them a task, it doesn't have to be 2 days. I'm just throwing it out there, like, just to break it up, just to keep them from being burned out, is my only thought. Or do you not mind the turnover because you really are looking for those diamonds in the rough? Is that
I don't want the turnover, but the reality is, it's like, we've tried so many different methods for the guy. And even when it comes to like volunteering, it's like the guys normally, like, if it's a slow week, oh, well, I only got 3 days this week. Is there anything I can? And Daisy's like, come in. If there's a truck here, come in. There's plenty of things you can help Lori over in the auction, take some things donation for, or try and move some things around, just making sure that she's good. She can't lift it by herself. Like, there's so many things that you can do that you're not in the field. And realistically, if you saw something, like, no one's taking over the DOT responsibilities. And that's a huge, but like in terms of making sure everything is up to date, it falls back on the office. And I'm like, that's a role in itself. No one takes care of how many boxes are left in the warehouse. That falls back on the office. She finds out through the grapevine, hey, we don't have any mediums left. And then she has to order. I'm like, if you're seeing it every day, you knew that last week that it was getting low. And that's a role that you can take off of your plate. And that's a whole job title that separates you, that eventually we'll have enough staff and everything that we can't afford for you to go into the field because we have this going on. That's the kind of mindset. Like, when I was in the field, I'm always thinking I need to raise the next me to be able to take my spot before I can get out of the field. I have to get someone that can understand and see the scope. And it took months to do that. But he got into that spot, and then he's looking at the next thing of when he can move up. But that's almost like you don't have anyone to replace you. And it made it seem like a tough thing to swallow. Like, there is no one that's, if you leave the field, what do we do? Because the rest of the guys, is you're running the jobs or anything, but you got to develop something. You got to develop another crew. You got to develop the guys around you. And that just never happened. Got burned out, got frustrated, and then be a great help if we had them. But you can't deal with like the attitude. Like, as soon as someone they're fed up, and it's just like trying to get you to like fire them or something like that. I'm like, dude, I don't understand. I don't know. I've just had enough bad jobs in my life to understand like the mentality of the blue collar, like, grunt work. Like, I worked at 1-800, got jumped. I worked at, like, it's a great opportunity if you see it, but if you don't see it, it makes it so much tougher for me to, like, it's very difficult to motivate other people when you got your own stress that no one else even understands, because you're the only one that does my role. And my role is to get the job onto the board, pass that information to operations, to the move manager, and it's like whispering in somebody's ear, whisper, whisper, whisper. By the end, the message is completely different. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for that message that you started with. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I think you already said it. What's up, Gene?
I'm doing all right.
Good. Like, you can't like really teach that. That's one of those things. That's just like one of those. It's a part of somebody's personality. Like, if they want to grind, they're gonna grind.
Mhm.
And if they're passionate about something, they'll show it. Like, I don't know if you can really like build that up in somebody. I think you can guide that energy when somebody is like at it and they just can't get enough of it and they're showing up early and leaving late and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think you can breed that in somebody. I don't think you can do it.
I mean, I'll say, like, just from the conversation and stuff in the truck and spending time outside, I'm happy with the dudes that have, like, well, one that left and jumped on and started streaming and building up his Twitch channel. And then the other dude is still working with us. We spend hours together just talking and stuff. We did like the website for him and everything, talking the AKA stuff and everything. And him actually filming and writing and stuff. So I'm like, I can't be mad at the fact that you want to leave at 11 o'clock to go home and shoot. It'd be so counterproductive for me. So I'm like, I'm on one side, I'm like, I'm proud of that. But there is an aspect that, like, this funds that. Like, if we do well here and you keep making money here, that's a guaranteed return that you can invest into your passion. But if this falters because we're not all putting anything into this, now you're going to have to create out of necessity. Like, now you're going to have to go and create stuff that you don't want to create just to make sure that it sells. Some lollipop stuff that you know is going to be commercial, that you're going to hate doing it and resent even doing your passion. Like, you have to get this knocked out first. Like,
There you go again. with your high expectations. Come
I
on,
think
man.
that's the minimum, though. Like, in this position, it's the minimum. I'm saying that's what it has to be to even to function. Like, it'd be different if you can show up to the place and everything is laid out for you. You just have to knock out A, B, and C. Like, if you're working at the post office or you're working as a cashier or something like that, with the structure that's set in place, I can take you, replace you with this person, and this is exactly what that structure is. It changes so much for us, and we're in a position that it's still like wet concrete. Like, if you think of something, it legitimately can be put into place. So it's only going to ride as high as the people that are actually going to go out there and execute. And I can sell my ass off, but if you don't show up with the customer service, and I'm like, these guys are patient, they can lift, they'll move it twice if they need to, whatever it takes to make you happy. That's all we want to do. And that was our mentality when I was actually in the field. But that was my biggest fear, is like getting diluted over the years. You know, it's like, in a perfect world, I'd like to be able to come back years later at like a training conference for Stress Free and be like the dude in the sport blazer that just shows you the old notes of where we came from. Yeah, I did that with Aerotech. It was like the third dude that got hired comes in, just like this sport blazer, sits on the table, and he brings out a notebook that they made their own white, like, yellow pages, calling every company A to Z to try and get their staffing services started up. And he's telling us the stories and stuff. I was like, that's what I want to do. And like, as soon as I started with Stretch Fair, like, that's what I want to be able to do. But that takes so much to get it to that point. That's hundreds of franchises deep.
Oh yeah.
You know, but
What
it's
motivates
fun.
you, Gene? What motivates you to give your all, or at least close to 100% to your job? Oh.
I don't know. I mean,
Uh-oh.
like, well, no, not even that. Not even that. I think over the years, you know, as long as I've been in finance, right? So I built a career, established a career, via finance. More specifically, like the banking industry. But throughout the years, man, I always wanted to hustle. I always wanted to climb the charts. I always wanted to climb the ladder. I started off as a teller. I just always had this ambition to, I think, what, it was crazy before all that, man. I think it's a weird concept, right? Like, I was struggling through college a bit, and and I wasn't doing as well as I wanted to, but I always knew I had this hustle. I had like street smarts. I don't know. It was just right. And then so I said, well, I'm not excelling there, but I know that I can excel. And I think for me, as like, honestly, is like um, a black man, like a black young man, I've always felt like I had something to prove. So that was always my thing. Like, I had to prove that I could really, like, I fit. I have to prove that I'm more than you think I am. Like, you're right. So, but really, I had to prove it to myself. Like, I would say that, but I would have to prove it to myself first. Anyways, man, I have to like make it deep. But it was just, that was just always my thing, man. I think because I didn't excel in one place where I felt like I wanted to be, not this statistical young black man, right? So, I just always felt like I had to hustle harder. I would have to hustle the hardest, like put in hours. I remember, I'd work at like AutoZone, and and it's crazy. So I'm working at AutoZone. I'm like killing the hours. I'm working overtime. Like, I also had this fascination with like stacking money. Like, I wanted to see how much I could just put away and watch the numbers like increase, right? So anyway, I'm living at mom and pop's house. So I'm working overtime. There were times I'd work overtime and I'd look at my check, like I'd work like 70 hours in a week. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, how you even fit that in? But I just kept going. Like, hey, you could get off or you could keep going. If I could keep going, I'll keep working. I keep working. I look at the check and I'm over here thinking my manager, like, hey, thanks. He's like, well, you're the one that worked. I didn't work for you. You wanted to do this. So yeah, you're welcome. But for me, I was like, thank you for giving me the for giving me the opportunity to like work, right? Because I'm like, this gives me, I'm hustling. I didn't need to hustle so hard. I was living at mom and pop's. I was like, I'm not paying any bills. Life is good, but I just had that mentality of hustle. So when I got into banking, I'd go to my manager, I'd talk to them, I'd say, hey, what do I got to do to get to the next level? And that's always been my mindset. What do I got to do to get to the next level? How long I got to do this? What do I have to do? How do I have to excel in it? Right. And then boom, next level. Like, so that, I don't know, man. That's what motivates me, man. That's my version of success, right? Like, continued growth in certain areas, and I'm still developing, man. It's crazy. Like I've been in this for quite some time, and I'm still trying to hustle, but now I hustle out of a sense of pride, right? Like having a little man, having a family, want to keep what I have and establish more like that. That's a newfound, like, and I hustle more efficiently. Like before, it was just kind of like putting in hours. I think throughout the years, like I start to hustle different, like, right? Like I'm
I
more
like that.
Yeah,
Hustle
see,
more
so,
efficiently. I like that.
yeah, yeah, man. And that's the mindset I have now, man. So I'm more, more dedicated to what I do. Like, when like Phil's talking about, like these heads just kind of just trying to get it done and get out. Like, I'm trying to, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the, I'm not the first one in, last one out. But there are plenty of times I'll be the last one out. Like I'll take that last, task and handle that and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a mindset, man. Like you guys said, it's not something you could really teach in a way. It's you just gotta want it like that. You just have to. You can't just be that job, man. You gotta.
That's what we were talking about, and that preaches to that point perfectly. Like you knew you were gonna hustle at something. You wanted to get something for yourself. You wanted to earn it for yourself. You didn't know what it was going to be. It just happened to be AutoZone. That's where you had started out at and whatnot. And they gave you an incentive plan, and you were like, I got this. This is mine. I'm going after it. Not everybody's got that mentality. A lot of people got pushed into having their first job. I know I did. I didn't have that mentality out of the gate. And once you finally realize what you can do, once you have that cash in your pocket and that individuality and that ability to do what you want, that was a motivating factor for me initially. But I don't know, and maybe that's a problem too. Maybe you guys are going after the wrong age group. If you're going after people that do have responsibility, commitments, or whatnot, maybe you would have a different set of mentalities running around that place.
I used to recruit the commercial division at when I was doing staffing, and it's just one of those things that it's like physically, how long do you want to do certain things? And there's nothing that you can say to somebody on like Friday after a long week that can get, but it's just, I know it was tough. Like I know for a fact that you're sore, you're tired, and there's nothing that you can really say to negate that, because on Monday there's a long distance move that's coming up, and
Yep.
So it's just one of those things that you got to consistently bring in people and showing exactly what the blueprint is going to look like moving forward. Like, give me a reason to step up more than what you're paying me to do. Like that's the thing that ultimately has to be shown. It's like you have to have some sort of light at the end of the tunnel that I'm reaching for. Otherwise, I'm going to put in my time and I'm going to go home. Like that's just across the industry with any business at all. Like you just have to make sure that the guys know, like, what is the benefit to me stepping up? And if we don't have a structure for that, I don't know what to even tell you.
Oh, that's what I was getting ready to ask you. All right, so there is no like stepping stone type of thing yet. Okay.
It's like still trying to find the guy. Like at this point, we have a guy that we're trying to make like the crew leader that the guys can go to. That's like, then if there's some issue that you can't take care of, you can bring it to the office or whatever. But the guys are so new. Like you have to run into so much ridiculous stuff before you feel confident. Like there isn't a situation I walk into that I'm like stumbling over my words dealing with somebody because I'm like, no, I've done something similar. We'll take care of it. At that time when it first happened, we didn't know what to do.
Yep.
You know, and that's not in the training manual or anything like that. You're gonna run into a resident that don't want your truck parked in front of their place. And now you gotta figure out how to get it down the street with no carts and stuff like that. Like there's just things that come up. And you know, telling someone that's like I can't even imagine it from their perspective. I'm standing next to the dude that owns the company. So at the end of the day, if anything happens, I'm telling him about it. He's here, he's seen it. Like for them coming in and you're sitting next to a couple of people that also just know as much as you do, I'm sure it's a nerve-wracking thing. I kind of take it for granted because I walk into like 2 or 3 different houses every day and talk to a person I've never met before. But for them, I mean, that most of them don't have that kind of experience. I can't fast forward life experience to people either. You know, even based on your job history. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think, and you know, and it's
do?
so crazy. It's like you said it too, man. It's like, you know, I think right now too, there's such a, you know, and I think it's in all, it can almost, I can't say it's in all industries, but when they talk about like this push for talent, right, in these industries and in different people of being employed, you wish you could kind of seek more specifically the type of people that you would want for your, you know, that respective job, right? But nowadays you're just trying to get anybody who's not anyone, but like, you know, someone who's decent enough to fit the bill, because that most ideal candidate is, you know, then they're just not the ones, you know, filling out the apps and coming through, and you know it doesn't always happen that way. And because I feel like, now Phil, you could tell me, because you've been recruiting, do you find there's a, you know, there's a lack of the specific qualifications you guys would like, or do you feel like you get that, but then, you know, what are you experiencing when it comes to actually getting people to work?
Probably 3 out of 4 interviews don't show up. Like a lot of applications that come in, set up the interview, no call, no show. So it's like that changes the interview process too, because it's like, oh, we showed up. Like you already got a leg up on the competition. Like that, you got to talk your way out of getting hired. Like, and it's just like it's no rhyme or reason. It's like certain dudes you can kind of look at and you can feel out at talking to them and stuff, like based on their past jobs, like if this is really something that you're going to want to do long term, because describing it to you versus actually putting you out and doing it is totally different. But then you'll get guys that's like, oh, you know, I did landscaping and I did like junk hauling and I did all these different things, and they get out and they're like, oh, we got to actually like wait for the client and walking through senior homes and stuff like that. Like guys that you really think is gonna knock out the park, they're gone in like a week. Like what is going on, bro? There's so many other ways to make money in today's times too. Like there's, like, I was talking to our operations manager today. I'm like from the past probably 2 months of studying NFTs, I'm pretty confident I could make more money sitting at home right now, day trading, just flipping NFTs. Like if you think of what your 2-week paycheck is versus how much profit very quickly you're able to make, like I can see why a lot of kids are just like, I work part-time hours. Like some of the guys that we end up getting, I'm like, I don't know how you guys are affording to pay bills and stuff. Like you, like I'm working over 40 hours and I'm still looking at the bills. Like I don't understand it, but.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You know, so crazy. I was browsing today, and you know, it was almost like a meme, but like, you know what, you know, being a millionaire looked like 3 years ago, and it's, you know, guy shirt and tie, and you know, in the office, you know, whatever, like somewhere fancy, versus what it looks like now is, you know, some kid with just some headphones on in front of his computer in his bedroom, you know, messy bed, you know, messy bedroom, like because there's, and then, and not to mention this generation, like even our generation, or in the coming generation, I can't quote the exact numbers because it slipped my mind. but it was a significant amount of young adults quitting their jobs, right? Because now they're going into entrepreneurship. And it's like what you said, like they're just like, you know what, I'm not gonna, when I look at my paycheck or when I look at the situation, I'm not doing this anymore for this when I could, like you and I, like you said it, man, we could probably quit the full-time job, focus on our crafts and legit be making money off of it. And you know, whatever it may be, because there's so much and again, it goes back to that hustle. There is so much opportunity, and it's unfortunate at the same time, like because there's so much going on. There's so much hurt and so much pain and so much loss going on right now, and inflation and so many things. At the same time, there's a lot of opportunity. There's opportunity for labor. There's opportunity to become, you know, an expert in stock exchange. There's a opportunity for your arts and in different things that you're doing. Like there is so much more opportunity. Not to mention, you think about even companies that were once in existence that were forced to shut down. So now there's the competition is shifting. Like right now, if you're the one creating something, you know, trying to come up, you have the upper hand because the competition that was there before you may not have been sustainable, and so many of them weren't, right? And then they're shutting down. And it's just, you know, I could probably start a landscaping business right now and guarantee you if I work my butt off, it would be by next year, man. This right now, the next year, that joint would be, you know, one of the best in town. Like, you know, because they want that. Like, there's a lack of, you know, talent, and there's people who, you know, if they just do it, it's just so many different things. Yeah, there's some, but at the same time, our people don't want to work like that. And I'm not talking about our people, but I'm talking about people really just don't. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I don't know if it's the American way right now. Like I don't know what's going on right now, but people are not looking over. And there are some people who are hustling and doing their own thing, side business, you know, that they have going on, ventures, you know, investment. And then there are people who are just like, nah, man, you know, I'll go work at Rudders, or I'll just, like you said, work part time and not even do anything. It's just a very, you know, lopsided time, but at the same time, there's plenty of opportunity.
It's scary though. Like it's scary to be in the mentality that like, yes, it is. It's a lot easier to think of like the structured 9 to 5. I'll just go work at Rudders type of thing. But it's like looking forward, those type of positions are slowly getting, not even slowly, like getting phased out. Like the brick and mortar positions that you can automate, at some point they get automated. Like I got like an ad about this, like it's like a robotic pizza maker machine that's basically looks like a big vending machine.
Yeah,
But
800 degrees.
yeah, like you just on your app on your phone type it in, you know exactly when it's gonna be done, boxed up, sitting at the end of it, you just pick it up and go home. Like why would I it's like why would you go to stand in line somewhere and wait for, hopefully this is a good pizza, like it's going to be exactly what you want it to be, and that's going to get phased out. Like that's not about outlets all the time, because I'm always on the road in different places and stuff. I'm like, they are ghost towns now. Like there's like no Nike stores, like, and when Nike leaves the outlet center, they all leave. Like that's the reason most people are showing up.
That's,
I
yeah.
don't know, man.
Basic, man. You already see the cashiers. Like the CVS and Giant and a bunch of those stores were experimenting with that stuff years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need and I always considered cashiers to be one of the more important positions in a store, because that's technically your gatekeeper for a lot of any and everything, whether it's security, whether it's greeting customers, whatever the case may be. But they're getting erased. You've got just self-checkouts everywhere now. Fast food places are doing it. Everybody's doing it. Like
Gas stations, yeah.
No, yeah.
Like it's rare that if I have the option to do self checkout, I do self checkout. Like every time.
Yeah, for real. You know, and again, I went to Mod. So tonight we went to Mod Pizza on our way. You know, looking at some different things, and then you go there, right? And they have you know the dough pre-made essentially, right? Stacked. They have, oh, I'm frozen. Can y'all see me now?
Yeah.
mhm.
Okay, cool. I thought it was frozen. All right, cool. They had, and it's almost like going to a Subway. It almost was like it was like it was almost like a pizza version of Subway. Like literally, like what bread do you want? So what pie, crust or whatever do you want? All right, cool. What toppings do you want? Spread it, boom, boom. All right, and they put it in the brick oven, like the fire oven, whatever. Um, but at the same time, when we talk about like that 800 degrees, like you realize they see how many things are so, you know, like schematical, like they're systematical and they just go through a process and it's done. And you're kind of thinking like, I mean, why not phase something like that out? Like almost to the point where you're going, they actually have robotics now that like they've shown you at like a burger joint um, that prepares, because again, it's a simplified process. Like it takes the meat, it knows how long to keep it on the, grill for and flip it, and then there's another robotic arm that, it puts like it's so crazy, like all these different things that are repetitive and just a motion. They know how to like phase that out and turn it into a robotic piece. And that's not to even mention the AI technology that's being worked for other things that'll come in the future. You know, so you're right, man. It's scary, but because there are things that have been in the works way before this. Like I tell you, automation, like banking, they have they have places in San Francisco, like banks that where they are pilots for the future of these brick and mortar, where there are always going to be some people who want to go into a brick and mortar. So it'll be like, imagine going into an office of like ATMs or something, and then having a virtual assistant like to help you with certain things that you need done, because it's you know
I'm already seeing those
yeah.
advertisements about investing. You can download the app for whatever bank it is or whoever you're working with, and then it makes investment decisions and stuff for you on the fly. I'm like, is that really how it's supposed to be? Like, there's an algorithm for that too. Like,
Yeah.
how secure is that really? I don't understand that.
It's probably a lot more secure than the decisions that you would make with that money. That's fun. The NFT the project that I was just looking at, that's basically, it's like the bot that it's creating. If you get the NFT, you get the license to this bot that day trades automatically based on the sales that are going on in the market, and they're going to get the up to date trends and everything quicker than you would. Like,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be
Yeah.
if it works.
Some of
It's
it
like you're
works.
phasing yourself out of the finance.
To a degree.
Point.
To a degree, you are, man. You really are. So, for example, like I use M1 Finance. M1 Finance it's a brokerage. It's one of the ones that I use, but I'll tell you about this one, like especially for people who are beginners, right? So it's M1 Finance. So what it does is that it's all virtual in a sense, like there's no brick and mortar. So here's a crazy side. If God forbid, let's just say that thing is wiped out the face of the earth tomorrow. Okay. Um, and I know that even if it did, they had, there are different things that had happened. But let's just say they disappeared out of existence. Like, let's find a way to say that some kind of malware someone was put on, and there's no record of this brokerage firm. You lose everything you have. It's just gone. And you can't file a police report and say, hey, this was M1 Finance. They're like, hey, look, we don't know like there's no record of it. Like tons of people could say, no, we had this. Like, we literally cannot find any record of M1 Finance. We don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, we don't, you know what I mean? And that's the crazy, because there's no brick and mortar. There's just no way to, no way to prove it if it's gone, unless you kept like receipts or tax docs, whatever. But anyways, that's one side. Then there's the flip side. Let's talk about more positive side of it, where we talked about this too, right? Where they have bots essentially that can create pies of portfolios for you. Like it, whatever you want to invest. Hey, I want to do the technology industry. I want to do the hospitality or whatever it is, dividends. And it knows how to pull all of them for you. It creates it for you based on the whatever you ask for, and then it can run the algorithm, run the highest moving units, whatever, and then you just put the dollar amount and it invests for you. And then later on, let's just say that money makes a certain amount of money, then it'll automatically take that money and then reinvest it and buy more stock for you. Like, you just wake up and, like, say for example, I get paid with dividends. right? I get paid through dividends in some of my stocks. So when my dividends reach a certain amount, right, this is what the company's paying me for owning their stock, and as their stock increases, so does my share. So then I get paid all, from their performance. So then it reaches a dollar amount, and then when it reaches a certain dollar amount, the system, the platform automatically reinvests the money for me and picks out the best stocks according to what it is that I want. And I've not done anything. So, and that automatically removes me from the equation, right? Like all I got to do is just put money and trust this thing to just do the work. This is what people would pay advisors for. Like this is a kind of service that you pay top dollar to have, And again, you can't have a converse. That's the difference, though. You can't have a personal relationship with it or a conversation with it, right? Whereas you could have that with an advisor, but at the same time, everything that the advisor essentially is doing in that regard, or your investment banker, it does it for you.
I mean, you got to think about what we're talking about here. Like, for the longest time, we were worried about, like, we were just talking about grunt work. We're talking about like physical, hard labor being replaced by robots and AI and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But we're flipping that. We're like, okay, what about decision-making positions? It's like,
right.
Like,
exactly.
how necessary are we going to be
That's
in the next like
crazy.
10 to 20 years? That's insane. I mean, we're talking about like people's prized possession. Like, you can't retire unless you've invested enough or you've saved enough, unless you want to keep working until the day you die. We're talking about stuff.
You almost got to be a doctor or an engineer, or or I think we'll still forever need pilots. Like we'll need, like, again, like doctors and all. I mean, I'm not. It would be centuries before I probably would step onto a plane that has no pilot, like physical pilot in it. But they're trying to, they're eventually trying to get that, because they have drones already. Like you said, important decision making, like, but there are some of those folks that you can't replace, the architectures, because you could design it, but you need somebody to, I think there's some things that you can't replace people with, or you can't replace, people with robots. But yeah, man. But a lot of the other stuff, man.
But even doctors, like there's, I mean, we can laugh and joke about it, but Tony Stark was like using this nanotechnology, whatever you want to call it, these little micro robots to build his suit of armor. They're experimenting with that, with removing tumors and removing blockages in people's arteries and stuff like that. Like,
and if when the scary thing is,
minimally invasive.
When it works, it's probably better than a human.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no emotion there. It's just facts.
There's no I had a bad day, I had an off day, no shaky hand. Like that Neuralink chip that they're talking about, that it was supposed to be designed so people with artificial limbs can control their like fingertips and stuff. And now it's like, well, what if we put in a chip that whatever you think, it's basically you have Google in your head. Like, would there ever be a reason? Like, think of how much, like, getting a calculator was so huge technologically. Like, and then it goes into the phone, it gets real simple and everything. Imagine just in whatever you want to come up with, whatever question you have, you have it already. Like, does that equal the playing field? If everyone, I mean, we already have that information. Like, if it's on Google, it's the only thing they saved me was about 15 seconds worth of time. So I don't think that it makes like the general population, like, now everybody's gonna be supercomputers. Like, no, you could have found out where Egypt was. Like, you could have Googled that. Like,
yeah.
But that's why, like, that's on the near future though. That's the horizon, and there's gonna be people that sign up to do it. There's gonna be people that jump on that plane. Absolutely, I guarantee that those tickets are gonna go for so much more. We're about to be in autonomous vehicles, so putting a plane in the air, they're gonna.
Yep.
It's happening whether we want to or not. That's why another NFT. I'm looking at NFT projects to hold, like things that I actually believe in, because I flipped a couple of them, made like a quick $50. Like, that was easy. I could do that. Like,
that's cool.
like it's real easy if you look at the market and see who's buying and selling the quickest and get it at the lowest price. Look at the traits and everything is a little more rare. I'll up it up to 0.7, get the 0.5 in the mid. Like, all right, I'll go buy another NFT with it. But I got a couple projects that I'm just like, these have the potential to be blue chip projects. Like the one like Alpha Gorillas, I just got my second one of those. Like they
I
have,
heard about the Alpha Gorillas.
bro, they just put the trailer out with the Unreal Engine and stuff, and it's like as a player in the game, you have to rent an Alpha Gorilla. If you don't have one of the NFTs to play in the game, you have to rent it. So I get paid every time you use my gorilla. So the dudes that got like the legendary traits and stuff, they're gonna be getting paid. Like I look at the utility, how much you're gonna get back on the one project. It's like the sister project of the Degenerate Apes, which their floor price right now is like 50K. And I just got one it was like basically based on like $150. I looked on it today and it's already up to $220. I'm chilling on this.
Yo, big fact. Yeah,
they came out 3 months ago. Like in 3 months, now if I sell the cheapest one is 50K. And it's gonna sell because I can put it at the floor price and someone's gonna buy it. Like it's wild.
No, it is wild. And then there's and again, I spoke to the dividend, and this is like me. I know that I should be taking advantage of some of this stuff, and I have plans to. Is just trying to, but sometimes you kind of like you said right now, a few months ago, I was already seeing some of this stuff. Like one of the ones that captured my eye and still pops up every now and then. I didn't know you could buy essentially fractional shares, which is such a great thing that is new these days that never existed before. You used to have to buy a whole share of things. But anyways, is that some of them, like say for example, I think it's I don't know if it's Meta Baby or something like that. It's one of them, for Metaverse pays you dividends. Like you own that NFT and it'll pay you dividends, like just by holding on to it. And as it grows, like that kind of stuff, like, you have the people that, they're going to try to just flip them. And you have the people like, no, I'll just hold on to these because these are the things again, man, it's not essentially, it's for us in a sense, we could participate in it, but it's really going to be, the little ones, man, they are the ones that you do. This is essentially like once you're kind of comfortable and you see what's going on, it's almost like having bonds for them for the future, because that's what old folks used to do. They used to leave bonds for their grandchildren, children, whatever. This is going to be the new version of bonds, right? Where you're leaving them crypto, you're leaving them NFTs, you're leaving some of the other, structures that are in place now. This is for that. This part is for that. Our generation still gets the stocks and stuff. And again, we could participate in this, but that big money, when you learn what to hold on to, they're gonna be the ones like really capitalizing on.
I still don't get this stuff, man. Like, what is it backed by? $1 is backed by gold, but what's an NFT or a crypto backed by?
I mean, so the big boy is going to be Bitcoin, and then you're looking at this point. I'm looking at Solana, which Ethereum is like the Nike when it comes to like the NFT space, and then Solana is the one that everybody is looking at, like they're coming up and trying to be like the Adidas. And so I think someone compared to like is going to become like the Visa. So Ethereum is what the popular thing is. It's trading for probably right now it's like 2,800, which is down from like 4,000 like a month ago. But that's the more popular platform to use OpenSea, and you're essentially buying things. You're paying money for the coin. You transfer it into your digital wallet. And in your digital wallet is where all your NFTs are. If you're going to buy it from a different platform, you just connect your wallet and you can trade and buy and stuff from there. But essentially, like the idea behind it is like we've been using NFTs for years. Like if you think about a skin in Fortnite or like something that you're buying, Grand Theft Auto, when you're buying a shark card, that has no real life value. It had value to you though. $50 or $100, whatever, for those points to use in game. So like these NFTs, like you can think of it the exact same way. Like, yes, you can take a screenshot of my Lunaroid NFTs. That's great. but you can't go and resell that to anybody. There's no platform for you to go resell your screenshot. I have the one of this 6,000 collection that has this serial. It's on the blockchain. There's no denying this transaction. This is the official one. I can use it for any print that I want. Like I'm gonna put, that's gonna be my new artwork, is the NFTs that I'm picking up, because I'm buying them based on the looks and the upside of them. But it increases in value because they're not making any more in that collection. So each one that I'm holding right now, all of them have utility. So like the Lunaroids that I said, like for every 2, I get the next collection that they're dropping in a month. And in the Discord is like where I live at this point. Each one of the projects have their own Discord channel. So if you hold one, you get your specialized chat. You're talking to everybody else that holds one. We had to vote to see how many of the next collection is going to come out. You're talking to the owners of the projects, the moderators or whatever, directly making decisions. And the more you have, the more votes that you get and everything. So it's that Twitter world that you're like, every group has their own like inside chat, so you know what's going on, upcoming announcements and stuff like that.
But again, though, like Gene was talking about earlier, so if the world's servers just went up in smoke, they had no electricity running to them and they no longer function, what's backing those NFTs? What's
it'd be gone.
It'd be gone.
Everything.
You know what I mean? Like what? And I get the value. Everything is popular, so popularity somehow correlates to the value of these credits, basically, these digital credits or whatever. So it's like, how is that a lasting thing? Like I know that was always the big argument. How is this a lasting? Is this just a phase that people are going through? This is a new trading card.
You don't see built like the big companies getting into a space that's going to be a phase. Like when Facebook switched over to Meta, like we're in for it. And then every day you look up on the news and it's another group that like Adidas, and I think it's like Adidas and Prada have a collection that's coming out. I can't remember what it is, but it actually has physical items that you get and stuff. Like that's another part of the NFTs. It's like you do get the image, but you also get, like the one group I get a 3D model of the NFT that I got and stuff like that. Like there's other things that they give out. But yeah, the actual NFT itself lives in a digital wallet. Like that piece of the blockchain, that you're never going to be able to touch it. But if that's where everything is going, then if it all falls apart, then every person's going to be in the exact same spot. Like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and again, it is that, and if you notice that too, a lot of it is driven by, we said, the popularity. The way I talk to our generation, or the millennials, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what's the next one. It's a lot of it is emotion, and now there's a creative space. But like, say for example, when the pandemic was like really, at this height, of just dating back a few months ago, maybe summertime of last year or such. The whole GameStop thing, right? GameStop's going crazy. Now, if you're anyone who knows anything about anything, pretty much, you would know, like, it's like you would ask yourself, why in the world is GameStop going crazy right now? Like, what in the world they don't have a new platform coming out. They don't have a new way of doing things. You mean to tell me what like, what sense did that make? But people were just, oh, I hear GameStop's going crazy. Let's invest. GameStop's the stuff right now. I'm telling you, everybody's talking about GameStop. But for what? Like, what are they bringing to the table? What innovative thing do they have going on? What are they offering? Nothing.
That was the power of Reddit. That's all that was. Like, if you follow Wall Street Bets on Reddit, you knew it was coming. It was basically like, guys, we love GameStop. We all grew up in GameStop. Look at this. Let's go all. And that's all. There really was no plan. There was no announcement GameStop made. Like, we're going digital. No, it was just, right. Let's all do it. Let's just drive.
And again, and that's perfect, because I didn't know that. And then you look at something like Dogecoin. Again, that was something, a meme. Like, just kind of, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden it started going crazy, and and people talking about, but then, and again, we talk about this again too, interest. That's the other downside of the generations. They switch. It's almost like when I think about my music now, I make my music. I'm not like here. I make. I used to be like, yo, man, I have to make 3 minute tracks. I have to make sure this track is 3 minutes. Now I'm like, man, if this joint's just a second over two, I'm cool. All I need to do is make 2 minute track. I'm good, because again, it takes energy and it takes a lot, but I'm like, man, and I say that, right, because it's about how long people keep focused now. Like they don't want, you know what I mean? People aren't really, you might as well start going back to picture books because you got to really do a lot to hold people's attention these days. So it's the same thing with the stocks and again, I'll call it the NFTs, I'll call it the crypto. You know, once people start kind of like fizzling, then all of a sudden it starts to drop because all of it is driven by emotion and it's
Yeah.
driven by trends. That's yeah. So there's really nothing backing what's going on now. It's just all about emotions and trends and oh, this seems hot now. Boom, people are doing. But
I look at it as like I don't want to let the internet pass me by. Like like when we were younger and people were like, "Oh, this internet thing" or whatever. Like there was no chance. Like Dad at the house with the Windows for Dummies book. There's no way in the world he would have thought in a few years you're going to be taking your credit card and putting your info in, and it's going to show up to you tomorrow at the house. Like no contact is just going to be there. You'll get a notification on your phone. The people that invested at that point, and it actually took off, is like the investment that I'm making. The reason I went Solana is because it is so low, but I'm just like a lot of the guys that I research are that like if I had $1,000 right now to get started, I wouldn't be looking at Ethereum. I'd be looking at Solana because that's like Gary Vee just put his book out on Solana. Like that's the next one that's like who's going to be the big blue chip one, like who's going to be the Bored Ape Yacht Club on Solana. And so like I'm looking at those projects and thinking like I'm looking at all these guys that are minting these projects when they first come out. Normally, when you mint them, you're the first one. Though they may mint it at like 0.5 or something like that. It's going to be cheaper than the public auction. That's when everybody can jump in. So a lot of times, you got to be in the Discord. You got to be active, level 20 to get the whitelist. And then when it goes out, you can make some money. I jumped into one that was 2 sold. So like a $200 project, but the artwork is so beautiful. I was like, it's the best looking artwork I've seen on any project that's on this. So at some point it's going to catch on, it's going to get big. All these dudes, they had a failed launch. Like the Solana network had problems, everybody's having issues transferring money and stuff, and it stalled the launch. All the dudes started selling it immediately. So I got 3 of them now. They started selling for like 0.5, 0.6 and stuff, and then Solana, and then they put out a message to anybody that kept holding that you get a free the second collection. And because I went and got 3 of them, I'm going to end up getting more than these guys that immediately sold. And because you got out of the market, that collection is only going to be like 2,000-3,000 of them total. So that one's going to be that much more special. I'm like, if you have a short-term thinking that I'm just gonna get this and flip it for 10 grand, there's a possibility. If you mint, you don't know what you're gonna get though. You could get the most rare one or you could get the most common. That's the chance you get when you're minting. It's like playing the lottery. You could get one that sells for 50K right off the bat. You really could. I just sold all of my NBA moments because the UFC started doing theirs. Like I hadn't sold any NFTs yet, and I was just like, let me just see what this is like. And I put a Carmelo Anthony one up, and it sold for $25 like in 5 minutes. Like, oh, that pack cost me $9. It gave me 3 moments. I sold the Carmelo for 25. I knew I was gonna make my money back. It's like $9. I got 3 cards. All of them are selling for over $6 already. So I've already doubled up if I sell for 18. All right. I put them up. Steph Curry sold for 20 something. Like I showed Jackie, I was like, I got $150 in my account right now. And I was checking my PNC. I was like, I didn't think I deposited it. I didn't do anything. It just popped up on the screen. I'm like, man, this is what they're doing. Like, stuff works, bro.
Yeah,
You just reminded me of something. I was in my little bit of research of this whole electronic age and digital age or whatever. Somebody interviewed Kevin O'Leary because apparently his background was huge in tech. So for him, a lot of his investments and stuff still are based in that area. And he said his big thing when it comes to crypto and NFT business is what Gene was saying. What does this company bring to the table besides this currency and stuff? What technology, what new technology are they bringing to the table that's going to have a long-term value? Because he's like, it's one thing to be hot or whatever, but when I go and meet with these people, because he's like, I'll go out of my way to go and fly somewhere. If they're in Jersey, if they're in Nevada, wherever they are, if they're doing something that's just unique and different, and these guys are programming and they're kicking ass and they're showing me what they're capable of, I'm investing that day when I show up, because I know they're going to come up with something that's going to be so innovative that it doesn't matter what the currency is and all this kind of stuff. They're going to bring a product that a whole bunch of other companies are going to be able to use.
Yeah.
So that to me was like, okay, that's what this is really about. This is almost like the space race. How fast can we come up with a program that's safe and secure and allows people to transfer money from here and there and trade and do business and stuff within seconds and efficiently do it and not have shutdowns and stuff that they have to announce on Twitter or whatever, that they're down for a week or whatever. Like, how sharp are these people?
It's happening. That's what you start seeing these like department stores and stuff like, oh, well, we're going to start accepting crypto on like eBay and stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's the easiest way to try and get the younger demographic. Like if you really want to get into that, but if the more streamlined you make it, like me on Solana, you can't trade on OpenSea, which is like the biggest NFT marketplace. It's all Ethereum stuff. Now they just announced that they're bringing over my digital wallet and Solana to that side. So now you just opened up this small window of like, it's still a huge, it's a $1.8 billion market for Solana. It's like 36 billion or something like that for OpenSea. So jumping over on OpenSea, you open up all these projects that I'm getting into. Now you got a bunch of dudes with Ethereum money that are looking at Solana like, wait, one Sol is $97? I'm gonna buy up a bunch of these. That's gonna drive up the price of a lot of these NFTs. Like Jackie got up and she gets up and feeds the dogs in the middle of the night. I came back because I finally went up and laid down because I heard her walking around. I was like, I don't want to wake her up. I laid down. I'm just sitting there thinking because I just left the Discord and I'm thinking of the different projects and stuff. And she comes down and she's like, "What are you thinking about?" I was like, "I'm thinking about the fact that I'm essentially." If projects work out, I have the opportunity to hand somebody our kid a Basquiat. Like, do what you want with it. At the bare minimum, sell it for $60K, or hold on to it because that company is doing it crazy. Like, if you think of an NFT, don't think of it as a picture. Think of it as an entertainment company. Think of it as an opportunity to do bigger things. Because I'm only investing in the ones that I believe in long term. And what's your vision? Everyone's got a whitelist, a roadmap. The one project I jumped into that has this beautiful artwork, I hated the roadmap. I didn't want to get into it because of that, but I'm like, I started taking a step back. I'm like, it's because these guys are real artists trying to figure out NFTs. On the other side, my degenerate Trash Pandas Club, their sister company's got 50K. And then they created the Trash Panda. So I know they already got a roadmap linked up. But these Lunaroids, though, they're so good on there. I'd rather bank on this artist. I think that they're going to do well also. So I want to invest in it. But the Alpha Gorillas already have a video game with the Unreal Engine. So they're not thinking of, I'm just going to give you a picture. They're already telling you they've got an app coming out that I can breed my gorillas and get traits from higher ranks and stuff like that. They already have a plan for the next collection coming out. And if you're going to put out a video game that you earn in the video game, that has potential to go crazy. I'm looking at the ones that have video games coming out, the ones that Bored Ape Yacht Club now has a recording company. They got a music label. They've got an animated series coming out. They got a clothing brand. So that's not just a picture of an ape. Now that could be Supreme. That could be whatever. Now you can wear that on your merch and stuff like that. Like that's your ape that you can. I can put an AKA on the side of my Lunaroid and that's my shirt, and sell it for profit as long as I hold that NFT. Like there's so many bigger things that come out of it. Like my next one that I'm getting is it's an NFT it's billboards in the metaverse, and I'm gonna mint it so I could get a huge billboard, or I could get a little one. But I can put my AKA brand on that billboard in the midst of that city. So then when you click it, you're in the metaverse in the AKA store. Like those billboard spaces are a
Isn't that
finite
crazy?
amount, bro. like that's a
You know.
utility there. Like not all NFTs are the same. They got all different types.
And that's the other thing too, man. When you said you were talking about, the music and different things, like, so there is that. And then again, to Don's point, again, what's the backing? So see, these are starting. You have those things that you talked about. And then that's strong backing versus someone who's just legit. Like there was a dude not too long ago. He legit, just as again one of those memes or jokes. He had like dozens of photos of himself, and they were just just a regular selfie, like not just like whatever. Imagine a screenshot of me with just different color backgrounds. He sold them as NFTs, and he sold $1 million worth. I mean, that's
$1 million.
nuts.
The kid,
worth.
He's the kid from like Indonesia or like India or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Millionaire.
Yep.
21 years
Millionaire.
old.
Yeah. Insane.
But I don't understand. Like,
It
went viral. It was like 600 pictures or something like that of the same, and he wasn't smiling. He was just sitting there, like before going
just right there. Every single picture, the same one, but just a different backdrop, like different tone, whatever, and then sold them. Like nuts. And then,
but I don't understand. Like what?
I know.
What
I
sparked
know,
the buying frenzy? Like what made him doing that special enough for people to be like, I'm going to spend my money on this?
What
Like I don't
Phil
understand.
said, man. What Phil said, it just went viral. Like that's just because again, when I talked to you about earlier, what's this? People are starting to talk about this, like GameStop. Oh, okay, boom. It's the same. It's emotion. Everybody's like, yo, this is hot, and we got to get on it. And then because people have gotten rich or whatnot. See, what's happening with all of this is everyone is trying to catch that. When I talked about earlier about it's so much easier to become a millionaire, like even if I didn't say that verbatim, I'm saying that now. It is so much easier to become a millionaire right now. But now everyone's trying to figure that out. So everyone, the minute something is hot and talked about, people are trying to jump on the wave because they're like, we don't want to miss the Bitcoin trend again. Like we don't want to miss when Bitcoin was at $3 or whatever, $5 or whatever, and then we missed it. Now we're gonna try and jump on everything. And so some things aren't back. But then you have someone like Nas, he's the only one I reference him because he's the only one so far I've heard. Something similar, and maybe Phil could make more sense, or it is what it is. But like he's selling, it's almost like he's selling it's almost like selling shares of his masters of, like, say for example, if he has one mic and you sell, and again I could be wrong in how this is, but the general concept you'll understand is you sell shares of your master of a track, and then as an NFT, and then you get paid every time he gets paid for royalties, you get paid. So now his track he sells essentially as an NFT. So now I can own one mic, and every time one mic plays, I get paid.
See, that makes sense to me.
Right, and then
that makes sense. That's like somebody that has a brilliant idea for a business, and they're asking for investors to back him in order to launch his idea. That makes sense.
It makes
There's
sense,
already
right?
a value to his master's catalog,
right,
and his name, his brand,
and his name, and his right, exactly, all of that. And here's what makes him and whoever else is doing it that has that celebrity status, if you will, right, or that notoriety, right? Just like that kid in India, wherever he was from, people were just like, this is hot. We just want it right now. He makes $1 million. So Nas can make the money up front, because the minute he starts selling the NFT, people are like, we want this. And now he sold a couple million while you're holding on to it in hopes of making a couple million later. Kind of like the same kid. The kid just became a millionaire. You're not a millionaire. You're hoping that holding on to this kid's NFTs are gonna make you money either soon or later, but he's already made the money up front. You see what I'm saying?
And that's what Tory Lanez did when he sold his NFT. He sold 1 million NFTs at $1 a piece. So he immediately celebrated. It was like 10 minutes. It sold out. I don't even think it was 10 minutes, but it sold out. And he's jumping around in his pool and stuff, spraying champagne. He's like, I just made $1 million. And I'm so proud of you guys. I'm happy for you because y'all are going to go make money. The funny thing is when you're the artist that made that NFT, he sold it to you for $1, but he probably got like 7% royalty every time that was traded. So every time that was
trading
sold,
aspect.
Yeah, you got it for, so say for like Solana, you got it for 1 Solana. There was only $1 million that went out. They're gonna put it back on the market, whatever floor they want to create. If they want to say I'm gonna put it out at 2 Solana or whatever, whenever that's purchased, that's still one less out of that million that's available. Like that number is not going to go anywhere. So as long as people are holding them, you're hoping as many people as possible hold on to there. So there's only like 100 listed, and that'll drive up the price of them and everything. But again, he makes 7% every time they sell. And you think of it as like, if you think of it like a Kickstarter, like that Bored Ape Yacht Club, when they sold their first collection, they're already showing you the roadmap of what they're planning on doing with the money that they made from that collection. They're going to give back 20% of the royalties to everybody that's holding. We're going to give 10% to this charity, and then we're going to fund the video game with this percent. And then it goes, and then you see they give you their business plan. And I'm getting from artists that are like, all right, well, he worked on Nickelodeon. He was the animator for Netflix series, this and stuff. Like, they're established artists typically. That kid in India just went viral because it's like, this kid it goes viral because it makes people talk. Like he made an NFT of just a bunch of pictures of himself, and it's like it probably went from joke to this kid's got 1 million followers now. And now all of a sudden I'm gonna have that picture on the wall, and someone's like, "Why you got that kid?" It's like, dude, that's a great story to tell whoever asks you. Why is there a random kid from India on your wall? It's like, oh, that kid's a millionaire. Actually, like it's yes, I I get the hype. But it's a status too. Like the Bored Ape Yacht Club, you can go to their private events if you own one of those. Oh, wow. And that means you may be chilling on a yacht with Steph Curry and LeBron, or Jimmy Fallon because he has one. Like only those holders get the right to go to those places. The Alpha Gorillas, some of the holders, I think they send one person to like the safari. Like there's perks to being in it. But it really is like a Kickstarter, though. You're funding their stocks. If you look at it that way.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's fun. Now I am on Twitter and Discord and stuff. It's like my immediate place to check. Because it's also like the world is on there. It's like, all right, guys, I'm heading to bed. Like, bro, I just got up. Like but it's cool because you're all in the same boat. Like, we want this project to succeed. What can we do to make it succeed? Like, it's pretty cool.
It is very cool. It is very cool. It's a lot of different cool things that you can do there.
Let me show you the screen real quick. Yeah, this is my Lunaroid that I'm gonna blow up and put on. I got 2 of them, but it's like the most detail of any of the NFTs that I've seen on the space. So it's basically you get this one collection that each one of them have a different trait. It's like the artist will basically do a bunch of layers, and the computer will automate which NFT gets this one and stuff like that. So like it'll be more and more rare traits and everything. But like the golden axe is rare, but the next one will be completely different. But I got those, and these are the Alpha Gorillas.
Nice.
I got this one on the mint, and I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna go buy another one. And I just sniped this one because I have this whole collection. There's like 10 that have that shirt on. So I got it for cheaper than the one that I originally minted, but I could probably make more money on that.
So this is straight up like Pokemon cards.
I mean, there's gonna be like the top dogs, like of the gorillas. Some of them were wearing like Super Saiyan stuff, and one gold with big wings and stuff like that. And immediately they posted it for like 1,000 Solana. Like, if you want to get this, you're gonna have to pay me a lot of money for this project. But it's so interesting to me, and like there's so many things that you can jump into the floor of Disney right now. Like if Disney came out in 2021, they would have started out with an NFT collection. And then they would have been like Mickey Mouse or something like that. And they developed a children's show off of that. And all of a sudden it becomes something bigger and bigger. And then they release the next one. Like that's what's happening currently. And I just don't want to miss that wave at all. I'll be so mad in a year if I'm sitting there playing Alpha Gorillas online. Like, man, I gotta pay some kid in his basement right now to play with this Alpha Gorilla.
Nah, I believe that. I would be happy about that.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
It sounds like I'm gonna be the last one jumping on this plane. so it's like,
yeah, you know what, man?
I'll let y'all be the guinea pigs, man. Y'all let me know how this pans out.
Look, man, in this right now in these times, man, there's so many different things that are jumping. Sometimes I feel like too, it's so crazy because I think since I started hearing about this NFT thing and we talking about mining and all, there has been some lopside to the crypto like world, to the crypto space. Like the NFTs have interrupted crypto a little bit. Like I feel like, because again, when I talk about emotion, when I talk about the trend, all of a sudden all I'm hearing is NFTs, So then, and not to mention what's going on with crypto is that, there's a whole mining issue that's going on. Like, and this is bigger than it's almost like smuggling drugs, right? Like, it's almost in the same space because that cryptocurrency has ultimately an exchange rate. Like you can exchange it for actual dollars. Um, and then so there's illegal mining of crypto, different things. So it's hard to put some certain regulations. That's why you'll see a bus go down of someone in a basement somewhere. It's like botany. Like they have a ish ton of servers and things going on where they're mining crypto, right? And then they're trying to so the government's having a hard time. Like people are trying to there are places where they're stopping certain things going on with crypto. But this right here is kind of like in a cooler space where it's different, but there's still the minting and things of it, but it's not the same as like that whole crypto. So when people start investing in something different, it's almost already so cluttered in a sense, right? There's crowdfunding, there's the investments for real estate, because now there's innovative ways to invest in real estate. Now we're talking NFTs, and we're talking crypto, and then we're talking, like we talked about innovations, the 800 degrees, like, there's that new technology of different things and ideas that's going on. So there's so much going on that at times it takes away from, like, say for example, like Odell Beckham, I think he'll be fine, but he lost so much money, right? You guys know about that. He lost so much money, yeah, because he decided to take his salary this last year in crypto. And in crypto, all of a sudden, his dropped significantly. Like crypto in general, he did it in Bitcoin. He did Bitcoin, but all of it has dropped significantly. So now he took a loss, but that loss doesn't mean it's forever. That if he just has to go and sell it now, and the next thing you know, things start to turn around again. Like Elon Musk is like, Bitcoin is the future. Kind of we talked about Reddit kind of things. A couple people hype it up, it's gonna just boost right back up again. Like kind of like he had, like he was doing with Doge. So it doesn't mean that he should bail, but at the same time, it's about that energy, it's about that interest, it's about that that trend, it's about what's going viral, it's about all of that. So this is that environment we're in, and kind of like to Phil's point, when he's being able to trade and do certain things. Once if Alpha Gorillas comes out with a new design on them, then Phil's Alpha Gorilla, NFT automatically is going to catch attention. It's going to because it's generally we're talking about Alpha Gorilla. It doesn't matter if they wear Super Saiyan or the black shirt with with a pink tag on. We're still talking Alpha Gorilla. So once that's catching wave, then that's going to catch wave, and then there might be opportunity for that, or you sit on it. But all of it in general is just, it's all about these emotions. That's what everyone's driving off of right now. But and then it'll take off, the interest will keep going in different places. So you got to just know when to do something with it, or if you just say, you know what, it doesn't matter what's happening, I'm just sitting on it. But that's so it kind of tells you itself, man. It tells you what's going on. Like It's a different, yeah, man. It's like Phil said, it's fun if you're when you're getting on this, but there will always be something, man. You may not always catch it at the bottom, but there'll always be something.
Yeah. I mean, even if you bought into one of these projects right now, and like some of the guys that followed, like, bro, I just got a board 8. It was 17K. I'm like, at that level, he flipped it for 23,000 like within a day. That's great. So even at that level, you can think you're gonna make money, but it's like if you let it get too far ahead of you, like I said, that Alpha Gorilla, once they release that second collection, and mine becomes that much more rare because that you can't, there's no more of the original collection to make that from. Now I'm gonna have one that's gonna be unique to even people that jumped in after the mint. They can't get that unless they buy it directly from me. So it's like you just keep building with whatever you believe in. You know, I don't want to invest in a project that I don't like the artwork. And it's helped because it's like if I see it and I think that there's something there, I look further into it because there's so many, it's just blown up. Like as crypto, like Bitcoin dropped, NFTs had the biggest month ever in January. So
See?
it's
Yeah.
like the numbers don't, because I think of it as like, all right, well, if I'm Odell, and Ngannou did the same thing. Like part of his contract for this last fight this past weekend was in crypto too. But it's like, yes, I have Solana and it's falling in value, but that project still costs 2 Solana. So I'd much rather buy more Solana while it's $80, $75 than if it goes back up to 200. Because that 2 Solana for that project now became a $400 buy-in, as opposed to right now that it cost me like 150 or something like that. And worst case scenario on the projects that I'm investing in, all right, well, I'll sell it for exactly what I got for it, and it's still going to go off the market. Yeah, but
well, let me ask this question: what's the point of a person asking for their salary in a cryptocurrency or an NFT package or whatever, versus you just being paid in dollars, you buying it yourself?
well,
I don't understand.
if I'm trying to drive up the value of Bitcoin, I'm Odell, I'm telling people, bro, I believe in this so much that I'm willing to take 750K in Bitcoin straight. Don't even give it to me in cash. Little baby just had a video that went viral, and it was him at like the jewelry store or something. He's like, I'm getting rid of all my cash. I want nothing but crypto. And he was just talking to like the teller, and it was a person recording or whatever. And every video kept popping up. Baby said he don't even want cash anymore. He doing everything crypto.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like they're opening up all these Bitcoin ATMs and stuff. And if I wanted to, like I was telling Jackie, I really don't want to get into how much I was buying these things for. But I was just like, at the end of the day, I can liquidate this in a few hours. Or if I just am holding Solana, I can cash out and it gets into my bank account in 1 to 2 business days. So if I really saw like the end was coming or something like that, I could just convert it. I could even convert it to US coin. That's on like your Coinbase or whatever trading app you're using. You can put it over to a sustainable piece, so you can make it in the US dollar if you want. It doesn't have to be sitting in Solana. It's just not going to grow. It's going to stay at $1. It's not going to do much. That's all within the app. You just click it and you say transfer, and it just transfers. I'm not like a financial genius, but I probably have like 6 or 7 coins now, because in the app, if you click their learning seminar, it teaches you about that particular coin. This is going to be in the air quality space, and they tell you what exactly they're looking to do with that. And if you answer the question, it gives you $5 worth of their coin. I'm like, I just let it sit there. If it takes off, I'll buy some more of it, but at least I have that, and it just keeps you in tune. Like I have some that I don't even remember what they do in particular, but they just gave it to you.
Yep.
I just think of all these countries that in Europe and in Asia and all this stuff that want to get in on these new trending currencies and stuff like that, but they're under governments that don't allow, like, they'll black out the internet. You know what I mean? Or they'll black out Twitter, or they'll black out whatever whenever they feel like. And usually that's around election times, or if there's too many like disturbances publicly, like there's too many people protesting, or there's people that are trying to knock them out of their their palaces and stuff like that. Like the idea that the stuff is on the cloud and it allows them the ability to go and buy food and to buy things that they want and all that kind of stuff. It sounds great, but at the same time, it just sounds like there's just a chokehold on it. Like there's just this possibility of it just disappearing or being snatched out of their hands. It just makes me nervous at the thought of it.
That's been the case with everything your whole life. Like, ain't nothing guaranteed, right? Like at the end of the day, even when it comes to the dollar, it's still a piece of paper.
But it's backed by something. Like it's a currency but it means something because there's a mint with a physical thing that equates to it. Like that's the only difference. If we ended up getting in bomb shelters for 100 years and all the people that knew about the mint that had all this gold in it died, and then that new generation that didn't know anything about it, then it wouldn't mean anything. But until that happens, it means something. You see what I'm saying? Like
I
No,
totally
I agree.
understand. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm not saying that I came up with the idea of this, but the fact that it's inevitable, it's like,
Right. It
you
is
want me to
inevitable.
say?
That's the only thing we're saying is that yes, I agree with you. Right now, the U.S. dollar is the only currency that is internationally recognized. Right, so it is the only one. Anywhere in the world, essentially, you could go and the U.S. dollar accounts for something. And there are some of these things that yes, they're going to be the NFTs, the crypto. The crypto is the second piece, right? That right now is recognized more, closest to the U.S. dollar as far as any type of credible
wow.
currency, right?
Yeah.
And then now we got the NFTs right now. I think that's it's becoming more internationally recognized, but it's not as it's not as prevalent as the crypto. But again, like to Phil's point, yes, it like, right now it's just the wave. This is just we're going into a digital space, and so much more is going to be digital. People are today. It's just like it's I don't carry cash like that, like and a lot of times so your credit, even like that's why like credit cards and things like they're more prevalent than even cash right now. Everything is in
Yeah.
such a digital sphere, like that's just what it is, man. And unless that time comes, like you say, because at that point even the currency won't matter. It'll be like I'll give you three cards for the pair of shoes you got. you know
Right. That's what I
but
said. Womp them earlier. We'll be
right.
trading seashells and beads and shit.
Hey,
Yeah, but until
yeah,
that time, man, until that
Uh,
time,
you
this is the
said
wave.
Asia made headlines a few days ago. Yeah, that was that was one of the reasons I bought Lunaroid, because of like the samurai look. Because they said Asia is now into the NFT marketplace. So like a lot of the people that I follow, they were like,
And
look
that's huge.
at Asian creators, look at projects. It's going to completely reshape everything. I just typed in Asia NFT, and it says why
Asia's
Asia
big.
is poised to be the next big market for NFTs. Generative NFTs are reshaping global art culture. And
Right.
typically when Asia gets involved into art, it's going to
Almost,
be
almost anything, because of their
yeah.
population, the Asian population. It's what you're really talking about at that point, right? So they that means something. It's not you're not talking about a small island. Like, yeah, you're talking about that. So like you said, they're getting into that, and then like you said too, they're creators as well. Oh man, that's booming. Even here, the U.S. Everyone's in competition to try to be friends with Asia because they're such a big population, right, of people, and they're laborers, right? They, so they do things for cheaper, like, so it's crazy, like, but yeah, that's doing your homework. That's the other thing too, man. When you talk about the whole, yeah, being the guinea pig piece too, there is that, and Phil's showing it, man. You do your homework, and that's why I've not even like acted like I know much about NFTs. I'll tell you about what I know about, but that is still foreign to me in a sense. But it's nice and it's refreshing knowing that someone else is doing their homework on it and can kind of give me confidence as to for when I go into and look at it, and look into it more and further. Because if I'm looking into it, I'm taking my time. Like I'm not like, oh, this looks cool. Like I mean, day and night. Like I lose sleep doing research. So but big facts, man. I really
I
do.
do too. Yeah.
So but yeah, man, but knowing that it's there, to do, and it's credible, and then and that gives me the peace of mind to be like, all right, I can look at this, and then that way you make the deals, with more confidence.
I mean, it's still very risky. Like at the end of the day, getting into any of these projects, they could all flop. Like Alpha Gorillas could be a terrible game. I have no idea what's going to end up coming out of it, but it's like you got to look at it from the perspective of like a future consumer. Look at it as an artist. Look at it as like what's the attention to detail. Like if some of them, before even like thinking about buying the project at this point, I'm looking at the upcoming releases. I've put things on my Google Calendar and stuff just to keep in mind, but I'll go to their Discord. I'll look at how many followers they have on Twitter. And then you look at the actual engagement on Twitter to see like, they're going to put out 5,000 of these. They got 700 followers on Twitter. They don't even have enough followers to support how much this is. Or I'll look at a project that's putting out 2,000 NFTs and they've got 30,000 people following them. And people are retweeting and comments like crazy and stuff. You look at the Discord channel and they're all an actual community. Like I sold a couple, they're called Dino Dogs. I just thought they were cool and I figured Jackie would like them. And like, I sold a couple of them they both made $50 on them. And I'm like, I had no emotional attachment to these things whatsoever. I got it because it was just a cool looking picture. But I went to their community and their community's like, they're having contests of who can write the best backstory for their Dino Dog and who can do, and taking pictures and stuff with, I'm like, this is a great community. It's just not me. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this every day. Like, it's dope. Like, Jackie may have fun in this and stuff. And like the alphas and stuff, I actually like the group that you're getting in and talking with. So it becomes a community within itself when you're on there. Like, I didn't think I'd get into that side of things, but you're talking with the people that created it. Like the people, like we directly influence them to give us the next collection based on the holders saying, no, let's put out a 2-to-1 ratio. Because everybody that just jumped in and bought one off the floor after the mint, they got it for like 0.6. And we're sitting there like, well, we got ours at 2 because we believed in the project. They waited until afterwards. Why would we reward them with the next collection? So we said, let's do 2-to-1. For every 2 you own, you get 1. And then all these people wanted to sell theirs because they're like, no, man, I'm like, that's weeding out the people that don't truly believe this project. Because if you gave them one, they then drop the floor again. They get it. It was a free NFT. I'm gonna put it as 0.5. I still made 0.5, but the collection doesn't look very good when you're telling me that this Basquiat is only worth $50. Like, it's the most beautiful artwork on the entire platform. So, and this is the conversation you have in the Discord. Everybody that actually believes it and stuff is like, yo, they'll randomly, like the moderators would be like, let's sweep the floor. Like, let's get all the ones from 1.5 up to 1.75. Let's sweep the floor so that makes the new floor to even get into this 1.75. And they'll say one of the alphas in that range has a gun in his pocket. Whoever gets them gets 2 sold. And everybody in the collection will go buy one. Whoever gets it, the moderator says it was number 235, here's 2 sold. And then they'll just do random giveaways, $500 to these 10 alphas. And like it's always something that's going on in those Discords. It's fun. So it's like, believe in the project you want to invest in, and you're not going to be upset. At the very least, I paid $100 for a piece of 4K high resolution artwork. I would have paid that at the store, right? Even if I were to lose that, like, and I won't. Exactly. But even if I did,
yeah. That's dope. Yeah,
I'll find some projects that I'm like. I mean, I'm high on the ones that I have right now, but I'm not gonna be like, yo, you definitely should do this. I'm still a rookie myself. Like, I was nervous as hell to try and sell, and I finally was just like, I just got to pull the trigger, and I sold those NBA NFTs, and I was just gone. I was like, oh, that's too easy. I literally just clicked place for sale, and I looked at my serial number, and I looked at the ones that had sold around me. It's like, well, that's sold for 25, and that's way less rare than mine. Let me put it at 30. 10 minutes later, got a notification like, dude, $30. I was like, damn, that's crazy.
That's nice. Oh, that's nice. Well, fellas, I gotta jump off here, man.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Yeah, but definitely good meeting with y'all fellas, man. You know, it's cool to get educated on some of this stuff too. So.
Yeah, I think this was a really good conversation. I learned a lot from it, just hearing y'all's excitement and stuff, mainly from it. But it's wild, man. It's a whole new frontier coming. But yeah, it was cool catching up with you guys.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, same. All right, fellas.
We'll have to see what the group says about the next meetup, but it's good linking up with you guys. Enjoy the end of the week. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, fellas. Love you.
All right, love you guys.
Bye-bye.